It's time to spill the tea on Vegas tea time.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Jeff.
And Christina.
With another episode of Vegas Tea Time here on J&K Stay in Vegas, where we're spilling the tea.
I need to get a little teapot.
Yeah.
That's what I need.
We're spilling the tea on all your crazy Vegas stories here in Las Vegas. And if you want to submit them, and you could do so anonymously, we're going to leave a link below. But we've already done one episode, and here we are on our next episode of some Vegas stories, right, Christina?
Yeah, and I hope if you didn't see our first episode, go watch that, because it actually, I think it turned out better than we kind of thought it would.
Yeah.
Just the way that it played out.
Yeah.
So go back and watch episode 1.
Yeah.
Stay tuned here.
Yep.
Episode 2, season 1 on the
That's right.
JK network.
That's right. Season 1. We're blasting off here in 2025. I told you a lot's coming on J&K Stay in Vegas, and this is part of it.
Yeah, and I did say this in the other video, the first one, but yes, we do say we have a lot coming.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff says that a lot, like on the live streams or his walks, and then you guys are probably like, hey, you said you were going to do something new.
Tip.
It takes a lot of time.
It does.
It takes a lot of time. You guys
It
just
does.
have no idea what we get ourselves involved in, and we go, oh man, that's going to take longer than we thought.
I mean, we had to rent this entire studio space.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, there is so much that goes involved. We had to drive the car halfway across town.
We did.
Get to the studio.
I know.
Set
Video.
up. And we got our production crew back there.
Hi, guys.
And they're doing all that fun stuff. I mean, it's a lot of work.
P.S. You have no idea how much time Jeff puts into all this. So,
Postscript.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane. So, yes, things are coming. They just, with him working and me not able to be doing a lot that I would like to do, it takes a little bit longer than it would for most, couples, 2 people doing it together. I kind of suck. So he does everything. So this man right here, give him all the credit.
Ha! It takes 2. J&K. Let's get to our first story. Sorry to get to knock everything over.
Yeah.
Everything that I've worked so hard for.
Yeah.
I mean, our production crew has.
Yeah, them over there.
They're just so silent. They're
know.
so good.
They don't want to say a
They're
word.
so good.
They don't want to interrupt us.
No, they don't. And as they should.
I know.
We are the stars.
Oh, we're so not going to go down that road. I am so not doing that.
Okay,
Even
so
as a
again,
joke.
we've got your stories that you submitted, and we got another couple of stories here that are pretty fun stories that you have submitted through our Google link and told us, hey, we got a Vegas story for you. And I've got this one, and it's...
all names have been changed.
Yeah,
in this one.
Yeah,
in
okay.
this, I'm just saying, there's quite a few names in there. Don't be trying to figure out who it is.
Yeah,
because they're all changed.
And that's actually a good point, because it definitely reminds me that I just kind of glance over the stories.
I
and
read all of them.
Yeah, and so that way I could have more of a natural reaction to what I'm reading.
Yes.
And
so I've read them all, because
Yep.
obviously I need to pick out which 2 we're going to do for the week.
Yep.
Now, so I read them, and then I go through them, and then I kind of give him an idea of what we're going to be talking about.
kind of like there's a
General,
yeah, of the,
like, oh, hey,
of the story.
this girl or so-and-so, if they gave us their name, they sent us an email, a story, and it's a little bit about blah, blah. And he'll go, oh, cool, I'll have to read it later. And then this is what he said to begin with. And then we both kind of thought at the same time, no, don't read it together. And don't think of reactions. Just, I'll know what they're about, but then our reactions are real.
Right.
They're in real time. So he hasn't read any of the emails
So
or stories.
let's get on to this first story here. This is called The Night We Lost Dave. I mean, like literally? Okay. I don't know. I guess we'll read on and we'll figure it out. So, all right. So this happened a couple of years ago during my buddy's bachelor party in Vegas. You know how it goes. You land in town full of big plans and huge expectations. We had the whole trip mapped out. Okay, makes sense. The night started pretty tame. We hit up a steakhouse and had a few drinks. They say which steakhouse at all?
No, they just said hit up I wish, and you could put in details
Yeah.
of, where you went in Vegas. Last story, no, Lindsay's story was the one that she said where they were at. But
yeah,
we'd like to know.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So
Still.
so it says the night started pretty tame. We hit up a steakhouse, had a few drinks, talked about how we're going to take it easy because it was only the first night.
Famous last words.
I smell trouble.
Mm-hmm.
After dinner, we walked over to a bar at the Venetian where we ordered a round of something blue and strong that the bartender promised would kick things off right. 2 drinks in, and suddenly our quiet, responsible friend Dave decides he wants to gamble. Uh-oh.
Responsible and gambling don't usually go together.
No, we're all shocked. But hey, it's Vegas. We hand him some money and tell him to go have fun. All right. And that's when things started to spiral. No, really? About an hour later, we realized Dave's gone. Not just went to the bathroom gone, completely disappeared. We checked the tables, the bar, even the gift shop where he'd been eyeing some ridiculous poker visor earlier. Nothing. So we start calling him. No answer. Text left unread. It's now turning into an actual search party. At some point, our buddy Mike decides that the best course of action is to think like Dave. Think like Dave.
Think like Dave.
Think like Dave.
So
Okay.
what would he be doing right now? Think like Dave.
I don't know Dave.
Well, they did.
I don't know Dave.
I know.
Problem is, Dave is normally the most responsible one, so it doesn't really help as much. We split up. I end up wandering into a lounge where I found a group of women at a bachelorette party. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Pink sashes, tiaras, the whole thing. And who's right in the middle of them? Dave. Well, I guess Dave found the party. I guess the other friends are losers. Dave found the bachelorette party.
Exactly.
But here's the kicker. He's wearing a tiara and leading them in a conga line around the bar. What's happening? Oh, come on. Really? A conga line?
That's what they said, or what he said.
Okay, so I pull him aside, and he's grinning like a kid on Christmas morning. Dude, these ladies are awesome. He slurs, holding up a nearly empty fishbowl-sized cocktail. Reminds me of the Red Onion back in San Diego.
Oh, my God.
Apparently, they mistook him for the groom and bought him drinks all night. How the hell would they mistake him for the groom? Are these bimbos or something?
I don't know. They were drinking.
I don't
know. I've never been to a bachelorette party where you don't know who the groom is. But
yeah, I
think they're all drunk, or everybody was drunk, or
it's
Vegas.
Right. Once we wrangle him back to reality, we're ready to call it a night. But Dave, who again is not usually that guy, insists we hit the slots just one more time. Fine. We get to the casino floor, and once you know it, the guy throws a crumpled $20 into a machine, hits max bet, and bam, wins $2,500. Man, we got to get Dave on the channel.
I'm serious. Dave needs to come on the channel.
That's some luck right there.
Yeah.
Suddenly, he's standing there in a tiara holding a giant cash voucher screaming, "Drinks on me!" Dave seems very charismatic with the alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
It took us another 2 hours to drag him away from celebrating with total strangers. And to top it off, when we finally get back to the hotel room, Dave pulls off his jacket and proudly reveals a temporary tattoo of a flamingo on his forearm. No idea when or where he got that.
They must have been saying the flamingo that gave him the idea, or I don't know.
It said the Venetian that they were playing. So,
they went to a bar.
I've seen plenty of dudes that are dressed all matchy, and they're walking the Las Vegas Strip on a Saturday night. So maybe they ended up at Flamingo.
That could be.
So then it's to this day, we have a strict no losing Dave rule whenever we go back to Vegas. But honestly, when we look back, we all say it's the best time we had in Vegas. Oh, that's kind of a sweet story.
It is.
I really thought it was going to be jail and God knows whatever else. And
I know. I want to hear jail stories.
Yeah.
I mean, that's awful, but like people that just went to jail for being like drunk, stupid, and they're like, "Oh, just sit down for a few hours."
Well, who knows? Maybe somebody will send us in some of those stories anonymously.
That'd be a good idea. Just
Yeah.
don't tell us who you are.
Yeah.
But there are those stories, though, that, I mean, people are just like a little bit too drunk and, they'll just throw you in there for a few hours, kind of sober up, and then say, you can go. I mean,
Cops filmed on location.
I'm not talking about, big trouble jail. I'm sure no one's going to talk about that. But there's the kind of like, oh man, he got arrested for what? Or mistakenly got arrested.
I don't know. If one of my friends got arrested just to be, put in a holding cell, I think I would be freaking out because I'd be like,
well, that's their point too. The cops.
Yeah.
But sober you up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody wants to be in that situation. Nobody wants to have that Vegas story.
Yeah. And you know what, though, too, is that Metro down on the Strip,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have to be really out of line to get in trouble with Metro, because Metro's pretty cool. I mean, I know that there's people that think, oh, there's cops, what are they doing? And, who's in trouble? Not necessarily. They just kind of, I don't want to say stand around because that makes it sound like they're doing nothing.
Right.
But they basically just kind of keep an eye on things. And like, if something happens, boom, then they're there.
Well, I mean,
nothing happened. What happened to the guy on the skis?
Yeah. Don't even get me started on the guy in the skis. If you didn't see that live
The
stream a few weeks ago,
goggles.
you'll have to
on.
go watch it. Gosh. But I mean, like you said, Metro is lined up and down the Strip for safety
For a
reasons.
reason.
But, there's a whole bunch of people that are driving up and down, blasting their stereo, doing all
Yelling
that.
out of the cars.
Yelling and, revving the engines. We know how much Christina loves revving of engines. And they don't do anything.
No, and they're
Like you
laughing.
said, I think they're really more concerned about just the really outrageous,
And-
like literally breaking the law and crossing the
Yeah,
line.
because like I said, it may look like they're not paying attention because they're usually like just around or leaning on their car. They're all lined up there. You see them. It does look a little, suspicious or, little like, well, what's going on?
Right.
And they're joking around, but they've got like the eagle eyes. They are paying attention to what's going on. I know. We're gonna get comments about, well, I was there and this happened. Okay, it does happen, but in general, they're pretty nice.
And I haven't really seen it, but they could be really small. But like on New Year's Eve and the big events, they do fly the drones.
Yes.
And like even last New Year's Eve, I saw the Metro actual officer with the whole drone gear, the monitor in the back of the truck, the whole 9 yards. So I don't know if like on a regular like weekend night, if they're flying one or not.
No.
I think that they would be, but who knows?
Yeah. And then that's the other thing too, is that for anyone who is not used, like if they've come to Vegas maybe a couple times and don't know a lot about what's just kind of going on in our city in the background, like how the Strip is kind of handled an everyday basis, especially the weekends. People I will see in the chat during your live stream, they'll hear the helicopters, and then the visuals of the cops sitting out there, and they're like, "Oh my God, what's going on?"
Well, and half the time the helicopters are the tour helicopters.
That's my point, though, is that there's several of them, and they go around just to look at the Strip at night. I mean, that's a gorgeous view.
And you can always tell, like when we have the people that aren't used to Vegas and literally have only seen it,
right?
And they'll see cops just lined up all the way down the Strip, and they're like, "What happened?
Yeah.
What happened?"
Yeah,
it's just
and they'll have the siren lights on, maybe just to make sure that people know they're there.
Right.
Don't start anything. But in general, I mean, our cops, and this is kind of goes into F1, but we were saying all the way back then that all the security guards and all that crap that were so awful to all the visitors.
Right.
That's what I kept saying. It's like
the rent-a-cops.
Yeah, the rent-a-cops. Dude, our cops are better than just the rent-a-cops. I mean, our police department would never treat people like that. They want them to come back.
Right.
So, if that happens again, just know that those are not city, like those are not that's not Metro.
Yeah, they definitely let the leash, out. They're not so like, boom. I mean, Vegas is Vegas. They know that.
Yeah.
They're human. They know that.
Exactly.
It's just when, somebody, like we said, is getting super out of line. So,
like the security guards were.
Yeah.
They were the ones that should have been.
right?
Yeah, I mean, it was terrible.
Yeah.
And it was like that last year too. Not as bad, I think, but
Yeah.
still, they were pushing people around and screaming at people that weren't even doing anything. And unfortunately, they were kind of left to take care of it, where Metro was out on the streets and these guys were handling the bridges and all that. So, but please know that our police department is pretty cool. It's pretty cool in general.
Should we get on to our second story?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that because I've heard people complaining about, this and that. I'm like, but it's not like that.
Right,
It
right.
really isn't. It looks like one thing on camera.
Right.
That's all you're getting is what's right there. So
Right.
anyway, I'll get off my box.
That's okay. That's okay.
Oh,
Story number 2.
Yes.
What do we have?
well, this is I'm not sure. This is from a female, but do not use their name.
Okay.
So-
But this is another subscriber, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Story from one of our subscribers.
Okay.
Okay.
I got it. I've got it here, but I'll listen as you describe the story. Let's do this.
Are you getting all this? I'm
Yeah.
just curious.
I'm getting all this.
Okay. So we're going to go back to 2015.
2015, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That is wild.
That wasn't a good year for me, but hey, oops, I keep hitting the microphone.
That's okay.
Sorry, you guys. Okay. So 2015 was my first time in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
My partner was working there at the time. He had a 2-night comp at Cosmopolitan, and it was amazing. So amazing that we overly invited and were tagged by security multiple times. I wouldn't want to be tagged by, okay.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. That's why I'm like, tagged by security. Why would you be tagged? I don't know. Okay.
Maybe they mean that they had eyes on them.
That
They were
could be.
maybe being a little loud or something. I don't know.
And it could have been a security dude that thought he was more than he really was. Because we've seen that plenty of times.
Yep.
Try to act all like,
Yep.
I see you.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, well, I see you too. Keep moving. So she says, I was tagged by multiple times. I stumbled out of an elevator. I tripped on the pool deck, etc. So he kept saying security was watching. Oh, her boyfriend. He kept saying security was watching us throughout the stay. I thought that was crazy. Following the comp stay, my last night was at Rio. The next day, I boarded the shuttle at Rio to the airport. I thought the driver looked like the pool concierge at Cosmopolitan.
Excuse me?
That's why I was like, what? I wasn't wrong. I boarded the shuttle, and he says, I'm glad to see you made it. We were keeping an eye out on you.
Wait a minute. So
He
the
said
Cosmo,
Yeah.
and she's going from the Rio, and the guy driving
Yeah, the shuttle. The shuttle.
from the Rio.
Yes. And he says, I'm glad to see you made it. We were keeping an eye on you.
This sounds like some Twilight Zone episode.
Exactly.
I don't
After a
know.
conversation, he revealed that he was in fact security at Cosmopolitan, who was playing the role of a pool concierge the next day to keep things in check. That's weird. Like,
Yeah.
why would you be at the pool to keep things in check? But that sounds more important than driving a shuttle.
I think this guy's feeding her a bunch of. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that.
I working in Vegas and hospitality over the years, and of course now I do real estate. But it sounds a little weird.
It does sound very. Why would somebody who's
Well, go on. Go on.
in fact security at Cosmopolitan playing the role?
So the
of
next day aboard the shuttle at Rio.
Oh, I think I just got it. Okay. He also drove the shuttle at Rio, weird coincidence, remembered me, and was happy to get me out of Las Vegas safely. Needless to say, my trips are very low-key these days. Big
bet.
Brother is always watching. Probably not a bad thing these days.
Right?
Yeah. But that's still... So he was keeping an eye on... He was, in fact, security at the Cosmopolitan, who was playing the role of pool concierge the next day to keep things in check.
Yeah. I mean, granted, this is 10 years ago, so things, were a lot different back then. But he must have just had his side hustle, like where he just drove the shuttle. That had to be, and it just was coincidence that he happened to be the shuttle driver.
Yeah, because he was security at Cosmo, but then the shuttle driver at Rio. It's just a weird coincidence.
Yeah.
So so he's security at Cosmo, but then he drives the shuttle. Why would security drive a shuttle?
So
Am I making more?
No, if this dude is on the up and up, then he just has another side job as a shuttle driver, and just happened to be coincidence, and he's just trying to, the coincidence that he happened to know, and he thought he would just kind of give him a little scare, like, oh, we've been keeping an eye on you,
well, she fell, and
like
so
Santa Claus says, oh, I've been watching you.
Right.
know.
Like she had said she had fell and whatever, so it looked like she was drinking a little bit too much. And
Right.
I'm not saying that you were. We're really not judging or anything. We're just trying to figure out what this dude was doing.
Right.
Yeah, I like this story though. Interesting, because can you imagine you're told your boyfriend and your girlfriend tells you, hey, I think they're keeping an eye on you. Why? And okay, you fell down. Who cares? I mean, it's Vegas. You've been drinking. You see that all the time.
Right.
They weren't being rude and obnoxious or anything.
But see, that's the thing, is that I've said this before, and working in hospitality and working in Vegas, in that, well, this pre-pandemic, but there's a lot of times where the security department is not on the same page as the hotel.
Oh, we know that.
And they're not even, especially if there's even because the pool people, they're not security.
No.
They have their own department,
right?
With the pool, the cabanas, all that stuff. Security has their own department,
their whole office.
Yeah, and unfortunately, none of these departments talk to each other.
Mm-mm.
They may send out an internal memo. Hey, we've got this event coming up. We've got this going on, but
then
that's about as far as the communication goes.
Yeah,
among
because then
hotels.
another department won't get it, and they'll be like, "Huh."
Well, yeah, and then you've got the guys that have just started,
right.
And
nobody knows what's
they may be literally shooting from the hip and just going either they're kind of lazy, or they're just over ambitious and
power trip.
Yeah, they got the power trip.
We've experienced that
a
lot of times, and you've experienced quite a few times talking to someone before you record somewhere, and let them know that you're the worst one wasn't at Trop when you were.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, you used to work there. Almost everybody.
So when I was doing Where's My Coffee, Where's My Room, or the Tropicana, 2 years, year and a half, 2 years before it closed, and I knew everybody up to the VP, of the
CEO,
hotel.
Yeah.
And very good terms with them, even after I left. So I said, hey, we got our channel. They knew about that. I said, hey, this is what I want to do. And of course, at the time, before this whole A's and the demo was coming along,
right.
They're like, yeah, we could use a little extra, advertisement, so to speak. And so they're like, yeah, go ahead. And I'm gonna let our new head of security know. And
what was that? You're gonna what?
Yeah, and so I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And so I met him, and I'm like, pleasure to meet you. He's like, so Jeff here is going to film around the hotel, so let all your guys know, so that way nobody freaks out or anything like that, right? And so I hear him actually get on the radio, and he's like, hey, we're gonna have somebody filming, and he's gonna be going around and film, and so then you literally hear him go okay. And I'm like, oh, thank you. Appreciate you doing that. So we don't have any issues, whatever. I kid you not. I'm like, thanks. See you later. I'm going to get outside and start my filming and walk in like I do my Where's My Coffee, Where's My Room. I literally walk in the front door, and again,
with your camera.
Yeah.
So it's like, bah! Okay.
This is literally a place that I have been in for at least 10 years. And so 75% of the people I know, from bartenders to servers to, again, VPs, everybody. So I walk into the Tropicana. I walk up the stairs. I'm walking halfway down past the tables, and I see this guy at the corner of my eye, and I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? And all of a sudden, sure enough, he comes over to me. Hey, man, you can't be filming in here. And I said,
Yes, I can.
I said, are you joking right now? And he's like, I said, didn't your boss, and I can't remember his name now because he was a new guy, but didn't your boss, head of security, just say, you're going to have somebody filming? He's like, and so he's all, somebody filming. Oh.
Is that exactly what he sounded like?
Yeah, pretty much. And then he's all, oh, okay. Yeah, no problem. Like, this is, so in other words, going back to our entire story about security, pool concierge, all
no
that.
No one communicating to everybody.
Right.
So everybody's on the same page. I mean, that just...
It
but
never happens.
Did they do that to you too? When you were filming some stuff when it was closing? I could have sworn something happened and you were just...
When I was doing the closing Tropicana video?
Well, not that video, but I think you were in the Trop just getting some B-roll or something for that video. And I think somebody said something to you because Mike or somebody had said something to somebody that you were there just doing some B-roll, just kind of just filming some things. And somebody still stopped you and said, well, they didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, and that's the funny part is that it doesn't happen as thankfully as much now with, you know, the whole advent of vloggers and influencers and all that. A lot of them have kind of calmed down, especially now you've got people that do literally blackjack and gameplay and all of that stuff. So it's not as much as like it used to be as far as the, you know, you can't film the tables and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, some of the bigger channels will obviously call ahead and say, hey, we're going to have, you know, somebody filming. But but like I said, though, I've been in the Bellagio and literally walked by 2 security guards and they saw me with the camera and I was not shy about it. And they just walked right past me.
No, I know. They just like, you're not even there.
Yeah.
But then my favorite one, to add to more stories, but my favorite one was Circa when it opened.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yes. So Circa.
My favorite story. I'm like,
so, yeah.
Dude, what is wrong with you?
We're not going to name drop, but we knew some higher ups.
Yeah, as did some other people.
Yeah, and we said, hey, is it cool if we stream, you know, when you guys...
And he even told me, he's like everybody can stream, you know, tonight,
wherever you want to,
anywhere. We don't care.
Yep.
Go ahead, you know, advertisement, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wherever you want. And so, you know, at that point, we're not shy about it. We're like, not trying to be inconspicuous, even though, you know.
Oh, God, everybody was streaming.
And everybody was filming. And so we literally, where were we right before that? Or were we coming out of the elevator or something like that?
We came out of an elevator, and I don't remember exactly where we were. I think, we came out on the 2nd floor.
Yeah, so we came out the elevator, I think.
Yeah, we came right out. It was quiet up there.
So I'm literally filming. This guy's all, hey, man, you can't be filming in here.
Yeah, and you were filming. That's the funny part. You were filming.
I won't say who, but another streamer went right by with a camera like this.
Yeah, there was
like literally, you know.
Yeah, like this.
And we're holding it like this, and somebody goes by like this. I'm like, and I turn around, I'm like, literally them right there. And he's like, you're the first one. You're the first person I saw.
And I'm like, and that's a problem. I mean, everybody in there. In fact, we started streaming, but then we had to stop only because
the signal was really bad.
The signal.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, screw this. We're just gonna do a vlog and let that be that. We can get more. Sorry, we're losing everybody, but whatever. Regardless. So we were just doing a vlog. We weren't even streaming.
Yep.
And he says, "Oh, sorry, you're the first people who saw." And I'm like, really? The whole flipping hotel.
Yeah.
Everybody, look down there. We're not the only ones. He's like, sorry.
Yeah.
You're just the first ones I saw, so you're good at the stuff. And then I think what you did was you just kind of put your phone down.
Yeah.
You were recording. You weren't streaming. So you're like, okay. He's like, I can see you're still streaming.
Yeah.
And you know, Jeff was like, no, dude, I'm just recording.
That's also a while ago before I had huevos rancheros.
I was ready to just lose my, what on him I have, because I really don't have a problem telling anybody what's right and wrong.
It just goes back to the fact of like even these stories. It's like, these things that happen in Vegas aren't just to people. They're among internal hotel staff that can't get on the same page.
Yeah, and nobody's fault. We're not blaming anybody.
It's just like that at every single property.
Yeah.
And especially now that you have, the big corporate MGM and Caesars, you've got a whole bunch of people in different positions and not a lot of people talk to each other.
Hands, feet, whatever else in all the cookie jars.
Yes.
They just don't communicate.
No.
And nobody knows what's going on. And so,
I mean, case in point, again, like when I know like literally everybody at the Tropicana and then meet the head of new security and then say, okay, this is happening. And 5 minutes later, one dude that's probably been on the job for a week goes, you can't be filming in here.
It's, and I have to laugh. I'm like, you have no idea who he is because, you.
And I don't want to go like, hey, you don't know who I am. I'm not that type of person.
No, not at all. But it's just, you just get kind of frustrated because of all the years that you worked there. And everybody knows him and he knows everybody. One person doesn't recognize you, and then he feels like he's got to be the one to tell you.
But that's even the worst part is that he was just told on the radio because they all have the same radio. They're all tuned in to the same channel.
Right.
And so he just heard moments ago, there's going to be somebody filming. Don't worry about it. It's all good. And
he wasn't listening.
He clearly wasn't listening.
He's probably playing on his phone or messaging and I'm not saying that in a derogative way. I'm just saying he could have been doing something and didn't think wasn't of any importance. It was just like chatter, know? And then, but it happens at it happens at every hotel. Either it does or it doesn't. Either, like Jeff said, you could just walk right past them and they'll be like, hey, or not say anything. Or, you're going to get somebody that's, really.
I think though, as time has gone on, like especially after our whole situation happened in 2020 and the advent of more influencers and marketing and all that, I think it's definitely a lot better than it used to be.
Oh, it is.
And
but
there's, there always is going to be some one-off person.
Exactly. And there have been vloggers for one reason or the other that have actually been 86 out of the, out of the casinos from now on. And they still talk about it. They're like, nope, not allowed to go back in there because I was streaming, Well,
that is, not to cut you off, but that's like literally like our Vegas tea time because literally those are some of our stories living here for as long as we have now. And we appreciate you guys sending in those Vegas stories. And again, you can submit those to us. And we're doing this Friday night Vegas tea time. Ollie's getting in the shot with his big old waggly tail. We don't care. We're just having a hang right now.
Yeah. Hi. This is Ollie. Yeah,
so anyway,
had Emma last week.
If you enjoyed this video, please give us a big old thumbs up. Subscribe to J&K Stay in Vegas. We're again doing these every Friday night. Vegas Tea Time. The J&K network is growing. And
I don't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah.
I said this last week as well. I will post this, the link, again on YouTube, just to help remind everybody, hey, send us your stories. But I also post on Instagram all the time.
And JK Stay in Vegas. If you haven't followed us, go and follow us over there.
JK Stay in Vegas.
Yep.
All together. But as you are probably aware, on Instagram, you can post a link, but you can't click it. So you're going to have to copy paste it and put it in the address bar, whatever. I'm
Ollie
gone.
says we're done. So everybody, again, thumbs up, subscribe to our channel. If you want to be alerted to all these videos, turn on those bell notifications. That'll alert you to our Vegas Tea Time, this new series, and all the great stuff that we've got coming up. All right, everybody, until the next one, stay safe.
And stay silly.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.